I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
You gotta know how many wieners are going down these big strokes.
I'm gonna go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! We are back with the MMA Analysis podcast. I'm your host, Jay Primetown. We got someone who's back from the desert, back from Sin City, back from getting spanked all over by Barry Fishel. Is that true? He's back. The Sodsman, Kentucky's finest, watching Trey Lyles play every night. It's Wes Colvin. What's happening?
Just watching PJ Washington just ball down there in Charlotte. Is what we're doing.
Live.
Yeah, no, good times. I don't know about them Fisher boys. I know they were stone cold fucking ice on the dice table this week, and I think Lance was talking about taking out a fucking one of them CDs or something out of his market account and cashing it in. He was so cold on the fucking dice table this weekend, but yeah, good.
I have a feeling that's kind of like pretty much every time with him.
No, we've had some good times. We've had some good times.
But he likes to overstay his welcome at the casinos.
Nothing like I seen my first night there. Watching some dude first time ever pick up some dice, roll the dice off the table probably a dozen times. Which if you've ever played craps, you know what some dude rolling the dice off the table over and over kind of looks like, and it's usually never good for your money. And the dude probably rode for over an hour.
Jesus,
a little over $2K and straight profit for me the first night there. So that makes just an outstanding Vegas weekend that you don't have to really worry about losing a little more, which I did on the dice table and shit the rest of the weekend. So.
Especially if Lance was ice cold, the master of the dice throw.
The officials were not good on that. Very good in the sports book though. I think Lance had a good weekend in the sports book. Yeah, good time though. Wish you boys were there this time. I think we had a little bigger clan the last time we were all out there, but yeah, it was good, man. Good times.
If you didn't listen to last week's show, we got a proper education in Canadian parliamentary government.
I got to listen. I got smarter on the plane. I really did. I got smarter on the plane. I appreciate it, Brad, and the old teenager sparking this country boy up.
Now the real question is, Nushan, we understand. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to go there at this line, but I didn't want to make a statement about future President Connor McDavid. But I'll certainly ask the question about Trudeau. During his little victory speech, what color was his face?
He switched it up on us. He actually went with the white face, which is a bit of a surprise. Yeah, with which was good for me. I think my bet on under 5.5 or 6.5 instances of blackface cash. So
is that what that was? Those number of instances prior to his speech
re-election or something.
Hey, it's cash, baby.
Oh, you got your. Oh, wow. That's good. I guess they didn't want to offend the natives anymore. The 7 tribes.
To offend everyone. All creeds.
Are you sure? I mean, some people seem to be into it. I mean, you voted for him, right? I mean,
he's the lesser of all evils, even if he is a fucking idiot.
Let's move on. I'm not sure I'm going to warrant this one anymore.
I survived Texas, which was a nice.
Oh yeah, how about that?
It wasn't too bad.
Was that a write-in vote?
Oh, we ran. I heard you got in there and fucked up Jeremy's fucking pelvic bone and shit. The hell's wrong with you, man?
Yeah, I did some damage. I had to leave a mark on Texas, and that's what I did.
Very nice of you.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I brought some cold weather there, which is the right thing for a Canadian to do for everybody to feel our pain. So, went to NASA, saw some shit, and yeah.
Oh, you went to the Lyndon Baines Johnson's Space Center. I know you Canadians don't really know much about space travel, so you got
the
proper
international
education.
arm. Come on now.
An arm of what?
In space. We fucking made that shit. Come on, Jay.
Yeah, but you have never launched a rocket.
We don't launch rockets. We just send up astronauts.
You should probably watch. Yeah, you should probably watch them. Yeah, you Canadians must really get up for anytime they got space movies coming out. Like it must be really exciting, real exploration and all. You know, I mean, exploration for Canadians might as well be going to the Northwest Territories looking for fur.
Jesus Christ! What the fuck?
At least I didn't get shot. That's the only thing I'm happy about. Didn't see that many guns. It was that's a success when going to Texas.
Fur trapping and mass shootings. Hey, you gotta,
Yeah, you gotta pick and choose what you want in your life.
Different types of death, I suppose.
Good times.
Oh, Lance Fishel must have been a little sad on early Saturday morning.
Oh, I guess we should just jump right into it.
Yeah.
It was, I guess we'll start with the main event of last week's, I guess it was Saturday's card in Singapore. Grappler versus grappler. I was intrigued by the matchup. Certainly lost a live bet on this matchup. I don't know what I thought he was taking over the fight. Then it got mooky.
Got very mooky.
Mm-hmm.
He was probably winning, no?
He was down in my opinion, he was down 2 rounds to none. But I thought he was taking over, and Maya was gassing. But
yeah.
You thought Askren lost the second round after that ground and pound? Which is the round he had the ground and pound in?
He had a little bit of ground and pound, but Maya was lighting him up on the feet in the second round.
Man, Ben Askren is really bad on the feet, isn't he?
Oh, that gif of him spinning. Oh my God, that's gonna be a legendary one right there. That'd never go away.
Like those are 2 grapplers that have had no training when it comes to stand-up fighting, and one of those takes striking a lot more seriously and actually refined his game to. I mean, he's not like Maya's never gonna be an elite kickboxer, but he got his game.
He's good though,
up to a level that can help his grappling game. Ben Askren is a fucking lost cause, and that's a disgrace.
One dude trains at a.
He doesn't give a fuck about it.
One dude trains at a what was started as a kickboxing gym with fucking pro kickboxers. And is literally trained there forever, while Maya still probably does mostly jiu-jitsu and grappling,
Rufus Sport is hilarious because Pettis has not learned how
kickboxers can't wrestle
in 20 years, and Askren has not learned to throw a punch in 20 years.
Yeah.
Now,
insane.
the more important question is, Wes, on Ben Askren's ride home, did you happen to join him for steak dinner with Ron Paul?
Oh, what now?
Oh, you didn't see that?
Oh, no. I didn't see
yeah. Oh, yeah.
What the hell happened?
I have to send you guys some pictures.
I go MIA for a couple days.
Let me see if I can find a picture. I'm gonna do some. You guys keep talking about that. I'm gonna look for some photographic evidence.
As long as he didn't tackle me.
Oh, I got it. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna send you guys a little picture. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, I was an idiot here. I had way too much confidence in Askren. I had 3 units on him. I just expected him to be able to wrestle more and tire him out. And that obviously did not happen, and he just got caught.
There's a little notification. Go check that out for yourselves.
Ron's a whole lot cooler than his son. I'll give him that. I don't agree with the
I wouldn't
dude.
picture Ben and Rand hanging out.
Rand's a fucking douchebag, like completely, like.
Well, but he's probably going to show up in his proper color face, so there's that. Just saying.
He doesn't keep his yard cleaned up though, so I don't really care what color face he's got.
You've driven by.
I can't be down with that shit.
Have you driven by?
No, Rand lives way on the down.
I
lives in like Radcliffe, Bowling Green area. It's a few hours from where I live. He was I believe an eye surgeon or something. I don't know. He made his money down that way. You know how those.
Oh yeah. Well, his father's a doctor.
Yeah, Rand is too. Rand Paul actually went overseas to Africa and shit, perform surgeries on kids and shit. So it's like
that's pretty good.
I'm gonna be like, you're a shitbag, but damn, you do like that good shit. That's what can you do?
So yeah, that was his reward for getting choked unconscious. I wonder where that dinner was. I gotta find out.
I'm with Sean too. I had Askren with my boy Cereal and a parlay. And who else did I have him with?
Sean was a high school wrestler. Oh man.
Who else did I have that fucker with, man? I can't fucking remember. Yeah, I had Askren a couple parlays too. I trusted him too much. I don't know what I was thinking, man, because Askren is about, I guess, what we all thought he was, right? Like he's good against
a fraud.
Fraud. He's beat some decent guys over his career. It was just guys that I don't know that never evolved. Like Askren's never evolved, and
his best win is, other than the Robbie Lawler win, which he really should have lost, was against the guy from Bellator.
Yeah, I mean,
what's his name? Korechkov?
Yeah.
That's probably his best one.
But I mean,
Lima. A young Lima.
Yeah, I mean, imagine what
fraud.
Yeah, Askren's not. He is what we thought he was, I think, man. I mean, there's some of us that wasn't as high on Askren. I think we all wanted him to be in the UFC way back just to see. And maybe him, maybe would have got a slighter build up in competition to where he would have had to improve his game, to where he waited all these years, and once he got here, he's
also past his prime.
Yeah. Even though the Robbie win was like a setup fight for him, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, he got his shit pushed in that fight big time too. So, yeah, I mean, and then the gassing. I mean, he gassed hard, like quick against fucking Maia. That was
Remember when a certain Fischl brother told us that he would wipe the floor with Habib?
GSP or Habib? Yeah.
Yeah.
What a fucking failure that was.
Well, let your biases, stand out.
Yeah. I don't even.
Yeah, I mean, we still got to give props to Maia. I mean, he was able to use the butterflies and able to sweep Askren anytime he got down. He didn't let Askren flatten him out on the ground and kind of lay on him for too long. He was able to use his jiu-jitsu to get up or transition and stuff like that. So Damian Maia at 41 years old, still putting in work.
Yeah, let's get over like Maia being like the best MMA wrestler ever in the art. Like there's I mean, look at what guys even Kobe and Usman and stuff could do to Maia. You know what I'm saying? Like pretty much the same guy that showed up and fought Askren.
That's why I'm saying Askren's a fraud.
I think, but those guys use their wrestling and defense and were able to outstrike. They didn't really lay on Maia for
very true. Because Maia was like piecing up fucking Kobe, and you know what I'm saying? Like he was landing on him, and
he was landing a lot. So
striker.
Because So I mean, hindsight, I should have known better. Just because the best way to beat Maia is to use your wrestling on as a defense mechanism and just outstrike him on the feet. But when you're Ben Askren and you have some of the worst striking in the UFC, that's not really going to work out for you.
I mean, I don't remember his striking looking that bad. And I guess it's always been that bad, but he made it look really, really bad in that fight.
Now, I don't know if it regressed or it's just we're used to seeing him just so little on the feet.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh well, that didn't look great, but now he got it to the ground and now it's in his world.
Because it was like he was doing some shit to where I was literally laughing. Like laughing.
I thought he was gonna fall over a couple times when he threw those spinning back fists. Yep. Like, don't trip over your feet, bud.
That one he did, I literally laughed out in my hotel room, dude. I was fucking dying when he was doing that shit. I shouldn't be laughing at your strikes.
Yeah, that's fine. You can laugh. Let's we've given Ben Askren way too much time. Let's move on to the rest of the card. Something called Pessoa, I guess that's Bigfoot, another Bigfoot in Brazil, beat Jeff Hughes. This was dominant by 30-27 decision. Loma, like I said, Luke Boone, that's not a real name. Split decision win over Albu, should have been unanimous. Sergey Pavlovich ran a train over Maurice Green, TKO first round. The dude, Movsar Evloev, won a unanimous decision over Barzola. He looks legit. Rafael Fiziev beat up Alex White. Alex White should probably be cut after this fight. And then Random Marcos and Yoder went to a split decision in a fight that, to me, was like dead even on paper. I'll start with Wes. Quick thoughts on this undercard. If you remember, I know it was the dead of night.
No, I actually watched them the next morning.
Wow.
I did have probably 4 edibles or so that morning, but yeah, actually the chick Loma, I thought she was pretty fun to watch, man. That was some legit fucking some legit Muay Thai and stuff. I kind of like watching that fight, her anyway.
I like watching Albo, but for other reasons.
Yeah, my boy Virginia Slim 1000, man, Maurice Green, dude. I had my worries going into this fight. Of course, I took a little bet on him again at like +2 something, but he's never been great, man. He's just had some good matchups to where he was worth taking the shot on. And yeah, I don't know what to think of Pavlich, man. He's just fought a bunch of cans. I think Green's bordering on the same. Yeah, Eloev, man, that kid's pretty decent. Probably need to step up in competition. And Alex White's trash. And I have no idea about Marcos Yoder. I was fucking barely watching it.
Well, he's watching, just doesn't remember. I mean, very understandable, of course. New Sean, any thoughts on these?
Just what the fuck was the UFC doing booking Alistair Overeem against Sergey Pavlovich in his debut? I mean, when the UFC is always looking for stars, especially in different areas, this guy's a Russian. Like, why would you not try to build this guy? Instead, they throw him to fucking Overeem. And I mean, I guess he's recovering now, but this guy could be starting to get some hype if he was booked correctly. But
should have put him against Cyril Asker or something.
Yeah, anybody. I mean, there's a shit ton of terrible heavyweights. Like, why have a debut against Overeem? But whatever.
But if he won, it would have been chaos, right?
Right, but I mean, expecting that against somebody like Overeem is stupid.
True.
But
True.
yeah, I mean, like Wes said, it's hard to gauge how good he is based on who he's fighting. But it's never a bad thing to have a 27-year-old heavyweight with looks like some decent skills. So. Nothing wrong with that. Evloev looked pretty good. Barzola is just so tough. It's hard to look really good against that guy. He has good wrestling and he can take a shot. So I know it was a bit closer than I expected, but Evloev's got that offense. Just got to shore up a bit of that defense. And if he goes against a guy with a little less durability than Barzola, I think he puts a stamp on it and probably finishes him. And I got nothing on the other 2 fights because I really didn't care.
Yeah, just that Alex White he's just not good. Yep. So main card, Muslim Salikov. I think this is his 3rd straight win in the UFC over Floriano Starpoli. Argentine. I think he's Argentine or Ukrainian or Uruguayan. Sorry. Oh no, he's from Buenos Aires. He's from La Plata, Buenos Aires. So, yeah, the Argentine 30-26 is a 29-28. Really not a lot to say about this fight, but it's warranted the double score, I would say. More want to talk about the next fight though. Cyril Gane against Dante Almeida. He's just kind of hanging out, and then he's like, fuck it, I'll submit this guy. I'm in on Cyril Gane at heavyweight.
Oh yeah.
You guys in?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm fully erect when this dude gets going.
Now.
I mean, you talk about a young heavyweight with some power, and I believe he's got a couple subs now in his UFC career, which, they were kind of pounding on him and grabbed one up, but it still shows that he can at least do it. Talk about how you build, a younger heavyweight. I mean, we're kind of seeing it here. They fed him a guy that's from where I'm from, Louisville, and I don't know any good MMA gyms around these parts. So, that's how you build up a good heavyweight. And, he went he went almost a full 3 here. Think that's pretty good. He seemed to have a little bit of gas. It's a little different when you're kind of, controlling everything. I get it, but still a big boy like that, throwing what he threw in that fight for almost 15 minutes is what you want to see, man. So yeah, I'm very impressed. Trains with the big Haganu as well. So yeah, I'm very intrigued.
I mean, that is MMA all body team too.
Oh yeah. I mean, could you imagine the
two of them?
The collective.
What are they collecting on a Friday night?
I don't. They're gonna need like 6. I mean, they need 3 apiece. It's just that.
Yeah.
I could imagine the collective measurements we got on those.
Imagine if they were taking TRT too. My goodness. I mean, might need 5.
Straight to the fucking post. I mean, TRT shot straight to the post. Man.
It's impressive. There's a lot. This guy is going to be rising up these ranks really quickly. Nushan, I assume you see it the same way?
Yeah, I'll just touch on Salikov. I'm a bit pissed I didn't put a little bit more. I just put 1 unit on him, and I mean, in hindsight, this was a striking match against a guy that was just a much better striker, and you could get him for pretty much like minus 150 for a really long time. So that's a bit of a miss for not hitting it a bit more. And yeah, Gane, that's impressive what he's been doing. To throw 168 strikes as a heavyweight and not look gassed, like I know that's his game, that's what he's supposed to do, but that's still impressive. Obviously, we still got to see what the wrestling's like, but in the meantime, let's hope they just match him up with strikers. We get to have some fun and watch him do some wild shit because, he is very impressive on the feet.
He's pretty good. The next fight, in my opinion, was one of the most dominant fights I've seen in a long time. Frank Camacho looked after looking so good in his last fight, looked completely outclassed by Dariush, who landed, I think, I didn't see the strike count, but I don't think Dariush took a lick of damage here with the strikes, takedown, submission. I mean, Dariush could probably fall like later that night if he wanted to. Like if Ben Askren's like, hey dude, I can't go. Like maybe that's what he should have done. He's like, man, I pulled my hamstring, or I got to go meet Ron Paul early. Like he called me. Like he could have just subbed right in. Like it took no damage. Took 3 minutes. Just ran through 2 minutes, I think. 2 minutes and 2 seconds through Frank Camacho. Darius again, excellent in this fight. Camacho didn't know what to do. Wes.
Yeah, I mean, when Dariush is on, man, like how good is that guy? Like seriously, I know he's had some stumbles against some guys, and it's crazy that he's still only 30 years old, man. Maybe he's hitting a second win. Because like I said, when that guy's on, man, he's like really, really fucking good, man. The guy's really well rounded. We know his jiu-jitsu, but hell, his hands have become pretty damn good as well. So yeah, that was pretty impressive against Camacho, a guy that had been looking fairly decent recently. So yeah, good win for Dariush. I'm not sure what you do with him now. I guess maybe he gets another kind of a bigger name again, and I believe he's won 3 in a row now. So maybe you give him kind of a big fight again and see if he is getting that second win. I think the line on Dariush was like -150 or minus 155 too, which was crazy. But of course, my dumb ass, that was my other Ben Askren parlay, was Dariush and Ben Askren.
Gotta lay that -150, Wes. Don't be scared. This is MMA.
I laid it on Lima. I actually laid the -160 or whatever
on
Lima and just hammered that. So
yeah, Camacho landed 3 strikes in this fight, and
how many did Dariush land? Do you know?
He only landed 13.
Yeah, but they just out-grappled them.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the difference between Nick Hein and Beneil Dariush. Everybody was pumped up on Camacho, and I think they were just pumped up because of how Camacho normally fights, and then seeing how he fought against Hein, which was like completely different and very composed. Just way too pumped up on that betting line. Dariush just dominated, tossed him, and Dariush is a good guy. I mean, he was beating Barboza until he got knee to oblivion.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
This guy has the talent. He just needs he seems to be putting it all together, and he's just got to fight smarter. I mean, his chin is a liability, so you got to if he strikes when he needs to and grapples when he was his bread and butter, and he has to go to that, and that's the difference right there.
Co-main event.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Stevie Ray, majority decision over Mike Johnson. How did 2 judges not score the 3rd round 10-8? This was a travesty. This was as dominant of a round as I've seen in a while. That said, I would have scored a 28-28, as I thought Johnson won the first 2 rounds, but I had no problem with Stevie Ray winning the fight just because of how dominant the 3rd round was. I don't get the 29-28 scorecards. It's bad judging, but Wes, I'll hear your thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, me watching these fights, I was on my phone. It was early, but I was biased, but I thought Stevie Ray got the first. I could have saw it going to Michael Johnson, but yeah, you're right. That should have been a 10-8 third. So
clear 10-8. He almost finished them.
Yeah. I mean, I like Stevie Ray in this fight, and I think it was more of the line and kind of a fade of Johnson. Don't think Stevie Ray is like back or anything, you know what I'm saying? It ain't like he looked great or anything. It's just Michael Johnson is who he's always been. I don't know, at times Michael Johnson looks like he's got some of the best hands in the division, you know what I'm saying? And other times he's a total fucking mook. But I believe it was like plus 210, plus 205 or something. Hell yeah, I'm taking that all day long against a guy who I think is fairly competitive with Michael Johnson, and that's a lot of guys in the top 15 or 20 of the 155 division. So yeah, nice cash, and I don't know, Stevie Ray will probably get slicked in his next fight. Who fucking knows? He's not back or anything by any means.
I got plus 285, Wes.
Oh.
That's just fucking wild. Like
I'm over doing a red fox. Oh.
Yeah, I gave Stevie Ray just a small edge in the first round. If you give it to Michael Johnson, I get that as well. Michael Johnson just finds ways to lose. Yeah. It's plain and simple. So I don't know how the hell you can back him as a 3-1 favorite with it, and it's kind of just always been this way. He did all right against Diaz in the first round, and then got pulled into a war, and then you know what happened. Like, he just finds ways to lose. hilarious that the only judge that gave Stevie Ray a 10-8 was the guy that gave Johnson the first and second round.
Wow.
So I guess they were just like, well, he's getting the win anyway. I guess we don't have to give him a 10-8. I don't know what the hell they were thinking, but that was a wild third round. Just the possession that Stevie Ray got him in and just raining those punches down was awesome to see. And yeah, do not trust Michael Johnson as a 3-1 favorite.
Yeah, I think I got plus 240 is what it was.
Nice. Yep.
Well, we already talked about the main event, so no need to go there again. We'll jump on to the highly anticipated UFC 244 card live from the greatest arena in the world, Madison Square Garden. I may or may not be there. We'll see. Hopefully I am. That'll be a fun one to get to. Mm-hmm. But this, in terms of some depth, is probably the deepest card that I can remember. Not one debutant on this card, and just about every fight has some value or some meaning.
Only one women's fight. Cherry on top.
And not a terrible women's fight. There's worse fights. There's worse fights. There's worse fights.
There's many worse. There's many worse.
Let's start it off in the featherweight division on the early prelims on Fight Pass /ESPN Plus. Julio Arce taking on Canadian pound for pound number 6, Akeem Dawodu. Is that fair?
Likely. That's the sad part.
All right, Nushan, since there's the Canadian on this fight, we'll let you start it off.
You know, I'm always question any Canadian fighter. This is a pretty close matchup in my opinion. Both these guys, the wins they've got in the UFC are a bit questionable. I guess Arce's win against Dan Ige actually is a pretty decent win in the UFC. Daniel Tamer, we know, is kind of a fraud, and Julian Erosa is pretty terrible as well. And then you got Dawodu beating Arnett, Bochniak, and Hori. So
Hori, who's that?
He beat the shit out of him, then ended up head kicking him.
Don't even remember that guy.
This is at the UFC Edmonton card, the last pay-per-view there. But yeah, these guys match up pretty closely. They both are fairly active and have decent defense. So I'm expecting a close fight. I like what I see a bit more with Arce. Not enough for me to put money on it, but I will pick Arce to win kind of a close striking decision.
Wes?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Sean says here. This is a really close fight. Two fairly evenly matched guys. I think the striking's really close. I think Arce's hands are a little bit better, but Dawodu probably throws a little bit more and better kicks than Arce. I think Arce's just a little bit better grappler, though. So I think he has a little edge there, and in a close fight that probably stays striking. I think Arce throws a little bit more, stays more active than Dawodu, and I think he gets a close decision here, but I can't bet him.
Yeah, I have Arce a C and Dawodu a C minus. Dawodu's a pretty talented striker, but that's really all he has to offer. Arce is certainly the more well-rounded fighter, comes out of a good gym. I think Dawodu can have some success on the feet, but I mean, I like Arce's conditioning and just like kind of output and volume over Dawodu. Dawodu is more a flash, so I'll take Arce. He's kind of more of a traditional fighter that I tend to like, especially in fights like this. Next fight, we got New Yorker Lyman Good taking on someone who's surprisingly been moving up in the UFC, Chance Rencountery.
I don't know about that.
I'm not sure if that's inaccurate either.
I know he was plus 225 last time he fought.
He certainly was, and he won.
That was not
somehow.
That was not bad.
Oh, yeah.
You got it, Wes. What you got?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I've never been. I think Good's the more talented guy here and stuff. Of course, he's the better athlete and stuff. But man, I've always found it hard to trust Lyman Good. This is like, I believe, the first time in like 4 or 5 years that he'll fight twice in a calendar year. Like, the dude rarely fights. His only win in the past 2 or 3 years is over the ghost of Ben Saunders. And I mean, for as like not really talented as Chance is, you know what you're gonna get out of the guy. And man, if this gets deep, second or third round, I mean, Lyman Good's probably in some trouble. So I mean, I can't bet Rencor here, but he's gonna be my pick for sure. I mean, like I said, Good's probably the more talented guy, better athlete. I'm going to take the tougher guy here, but no bet.
All right. Nishan?
Chance Encounter won a 15-minute fight and landed 4 significant strikes in his last fight.
That was fantastic.
How fucking crazy is that? He's landed a total of 20 strikes in his 3 UFC fights, and 2 of them have went to decision. He is not good, but he is fairly durable, and I think he can grind on Lyman Good a bit. So if, like Wes said, if this goes long, it's a bit of a toss-up. If I think Good's going to look strong early and land some stuff. So I think Good could probably get him out there early, but on the off chance that he doesn't, this gets pretty scary against a guy that is pretty terrible. So it's a stay away fight for me. I think Lyman Good probably gets a fairly early finish, but I can't bank on that with a guy that I just don't like if he can't get that early finish.
I got Good, a C-, Rencountering a D+. To me, Chance Rencounter is just a wrestler. I think Good is a has fairly decent takedown defense, and Good's way better on the feet. So I think he does enough to stuff takedowns here and get the W. Wouldn't break my bank on it, but this really is a fight Good should lose more often than not, especially fighting in his hometown. Only female fight on the card, a real important fight in the flyweight division. Right?
You can't even say it with a straight face, motherfucker.
Jenny Maya taking on Caitlin Mukhayan. Or, she's Armenian because the IAN ending,
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what they all are. Anyway, let's hear. Wes, any thoughts on this one?
The Mook should win, but there's no way you should lay -150 on her.
New Sean?
Over 2.5 is -580 in this fight. So
Whoa!
So this is what we're in
is that
for.
The highest -2.5, over 2.5 you've ever seen?
It might be, actually. I
thought you were tracking this. I feel like this is something that should be tracked.
They don't have Fight Goes up yet?
No, Fight Goes has
-485.
-485 to go. That's
bet, New Sean.
It is not a bet, and it is the only fight on this card that you should, like, if you need to go get a drink, if you need to take your dogs for a walk, this is the spot. This is the one.
20 minutes.
You got a solid 20 minutes to get your shit together until you can lock into that couch and enjoy the rest of this fight. I'll pick Mook again. She's shown to be a bit of a better fighter, but it is women's MMA, and a lot of dumb shit happens. So I'm staying far away from this and not caring.
I got Jenny Maya C+, Mukhayan a C+. Yeah, this is pretty interesting. Maya certainly has bigger power, more likely to go for takedowns, but Mugagian way better from distance, also fighting on home turf here. She trains in Jersey. I like the distance striker, the higher volume striker. Maya tends to slow down in fights. Like I said, she definitely lends more power, but Mugagian does pretty good to avoid getting hit. As long as she keeps it standing, I think she'll get the win. It won't be pretty, but I think she's a fairly effective fighter. So I'll take Mugagian to get the W. Let's move on to the televised card on ESPN2. This is a really good televised prelim. I think I'm really looking forward to each of these fights. Each is a little something different. Starts off with heavyweight, which should be a doozy. We got Andrei Arlovsky taking on the dude Jair Zinho, which means little Jair Rosenstruck. I forget what Suriname is he from? I forget which country.
You betcha.
Oh yeah, he is. Wes, give us some thoughts here. Is this going to be Jair Zinho's big moment?
I mean, it really should be, right? I mean, I guess Arlovsky won against Ben Rothwell. I guess. Yeah, I mean, he should put Arlovsky out here. I'm still baffled by how Arlovsky's still out there. And he's actually I don't even think he's been brutally knocked out in a couple years now, which is even crazier. So I think we get back to that, though. I think Rosenstruck gets a brutal KO of Arlovsky here. I like him. I threw a little bet on him when he was minus 150, I believe, somewhere right in that area. Yeah, I think he gets Arlovsky out of there.
Nishan?
Yeah, I got Rosenstruck at minus 148. Just one unit because this is somewhat low-level heavyweights, and Andre probably could get some takedowns here. I know until the last 5 fights, he just straight up hadn't gone for takedown in a decade, and then he started to mix it up again because he was getting crushed, but. The takedown defense is definitely still a question mark when it comes to Rosenstruck. The diaper baby was able to get him down, if I remember correctly. So that is a bit scary. But when this is on the feet, I think there's a pretty big edge to Rosenstruck. So I'm counting on the fact that he will be able to keep it on the feet long enough to throw them hands and put Arlovsky away.
That's fair. I got Arlovsky a C-, Rosenstruck a D+. I mean, Arlovsky's almost been like a prospect killer a little bit in his recent fights. Rosenstruck definitely has dynamite in his hands, and once he lands, it's super dangerous. But Arlovsky certainly has had his moments where he just kind of nullifies guys. That have similar styles to Rosenstruck. They're certainly not as talented as Rosenstruck, so this is a really tough call. I'm gonna go with Arlovsky just because I feel like I've seen this before, but it's gonna be 15 minutes of you're just gonna have to survive it, and that's that's the most painful bet you can make in MMA is taking a guy who you think has more tools, but is way more likely to get finished. So
to a 40-year-old
definitely, if you want to lose your hair, that's probably the guy to take. Definitely an interesting bout here. We got Brad Tavares taking on, Glendale's finest.
Head movement.
Mm-hmm.
Edmund on Edmund. Yep. Shabazian.
It's a deadly combination.
But it's been undefeated so far.
All right.
West, 10-0 Edmund. Is it going to be 11? Is he going to get 4 straight wins in the UFC?
Yeah, I think Edmund's got him one. Edmund's got a good one over at Glendale with the little Edmund. before even this fight, I have said though that if this kid is as good as some of us thinks he can be, he's gonna have to get fucking away from Edmund. He's gonna have to happen, and I'm kind of afraid that it probably never will. But yeah, back to this fight. I mean, this is gonna be a test for him. There's no doubt about that. I think Brad Tavares is a really tough out. That dude's always been a tough out. But I just think I'm gonna go with the younger, fresher guy that I think is just I think speed's gonna be a problem here, man. I think Edmund is just faster on the feet than Tavares. I think he's way faster on the mat when this probably inevitably hits the mat. So, yeah, I like Edmund in this fight. I think he can eventually get this down. And when it does, I think Tavares is in trouble, ground and pound, and maybe even a submission here. So, yeah, I like Edmund. I got him on the opener. I believe it was around -130 or so, just to win about a unit. So, yeah, nothing big. Like I said, I think this is going to be the kid's first really, really good test, but I think he can pass it. So, yeah, Edmund for me.
All right, new Sean.
Yeah, this is a decent step up for Edmund. In hindsight, the Darren Stewart kind of split decision doesn't look terrible because Darren Stewart's a pretty decent fighter. Tavares hasn't fought in like 15 months. His last fight was against Izzy in July of last year. That's not ideal. Tavares has been taken down in the past. He got taken down by a Theodoro, Megalesh. Yoel was able to take him down a bunch of times. So Edmund's wrestling is pretty damn elite. So I do expect him to get the takedowns. On the feet, it's definitely a lot closer fight. I'd probably give Tavares a bit of an edge there, but I expect Edmund to continue to make leaps. He is only 21 years old. This is a good test, but I think the wrestling will be enough to get the job done. It's tough to finish a guy like Tavares, so it'll probably be a decision. But at the number it was at, I had to take it. So I got 1.5 units on Shabazian at about -107.
Ooh, that's real nice.
I got Tavares a C+, Shabazian C-. This is an interesting fight because one can make the case Tavares is getting older, he's starting to slow down a bit, and Shabazian's on the rise, and just how good is he? But to me, this is by far his toughest test ever. It's just a matter of can he deal with Tavares' kind of physicality, maybe a mix of takedowns from Tavares. Really tough fight to call because that, even with the difference in grades. I'm going to lean towards Tavares being the prospect killer in this bout. I think this is maybe a little bit too much of a step up in competition. But we'll see. If Shabazian wins this fight, he's definitely well on his way into the top 15 of this weight class. Next fight up, we got Makwan Amirkhani, Mr. Finland, taking on Shane Burgos. This one I'm really looking forward to. Wes?
Yeah, this is a fun fight. And a couple really fun fighters, man. One that I've really enjoyed watching over the past couple years. And Shane Burgos, man. I think Shane Burgos has some of the best hands. They're right up there in MMA in his division. His boxing is just so beautiful to watch. And in this fight, man, I like him. I think the line is maybe a slightly high, but I think he's a deserved favorite here. I've never been really huge on Makwan. I know a lot of people have kind of wanted him to kind of be something. I know, Dickwad fucking Hawani is blown on him for fucking years now. But I mean, wins against Jason Knight and Chris Fishgold just aren't the same to me as we forget Burgos was putting the heat on Calvin Cutter for 2 good rounds until he got caught. And that's one of the only other guys in the division that I think has legitimate better boxing than Shane Burgos. A good win against a tough guy and Holloway. The Cub win doesn't look so bad after Cub's last outing. So yeah, I think this is probably gonna be a fight on the feet, and I think that Burgos' hands are just way better than Mike Wan's, and I think he probably gets him out of there in the third round or so. So yeah, I like Burgos quite a bit, and I parlayed him with something else on the card, and I got a smaller bet on his opener at, I believe it was around -135.
Nushan?
Yeah, this seems like a pretty good matchup for Burgos. He's shown pretty good takedown defense, and that's where Americani does his damage. He's a bit lost on the feet, and if Burgos can keep it there, he's probably going to do some pretty good damage. So the number is steep. It's kind of scaring me away for some reason. But if, like I said, I think Burgos keeps it on the feet, and there he has a big edge. Burgos by TKO is like +320. If I was to play it, I'd probably sprinkle something like that. Just because it's, for some reason, I'm just struggling laying -245 on Burgos. But I think he wins either a wide decision or maybe gets a finish in the third round.
Yeah, I have Americani a C-, Burgos a C+. I think there's a pretty significant size difference in this fight. Burgos quite a bit bigger and way better on the feet than Americani. I think Americani's kind of a dead man walking in this fight. Bad matchup. Burgos beats him up on the feet. Volume, power, wins this fight. TKO. Wes nailed it. And this is the first leg of consensus parlay that we'll have for this card. So Shane Burgos, first leg. Nushan, what's the price on Burgos currently?
It is -245 at a couple books.
Mm-hmm.
Was this who we was doing the?
Yeah, this was not. No, we're doing.
I thought it was.
No. Couple later on.
I'm on.
Yeah, a couple later on.
Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, but I think this is. Yeah,
this is just probably good of a parlay piece as the other two though.
Throw it in there too. Let's get some big plus money.
All right. Prelim headliner. We have. Yes, we do. We have Corey. You know his nickname.
Beastin'.
How many hours? How many days? 25-8.
Oh,
overtime. He's going overtime now.
I'll never say overtime.
He is never overtime. He is.
I mean, he's going overtime on the Beastin'. It just ain't even 25-8 anymore. He's up to 30.
That's a pathetic scenario. Yep, and he is taking on the dude, the drink, Johnny Walker. He's back. How's his shoulder? We don't know. And Nushan, Toronto just made the MLS Cup final. Look at that.
I thought they were terrible.
Apparently they just won in Atlanta.
They were terrible at the start of the year, were they not? Or am I thinking of last year?
No, they didn't start well. No, they were terrible to start the year.
Okay.
Time happens. Anyway.
Yep.
Might actually have a champion there for the first time. We'll see. Yeah, taking on Johnny Walker. Wes. We know we like Johnny Walker on this podcast, but do we like him in this fight?
You know, he's definitely a friend of the show. We've been big fans, been big fans for a while. But yeah, this is definitely a really tough fight for Johnny Walker. I still do like him in this fight. I just think that he's just such a dynamic striker, man, that we know, we've seen what happens to Corey Anderson when people can get out of his chin, man. it's not been pretty. I have not forgot about that. Beating the Patrick Cummings of the world and the Latifis. I mean, I think Glover was a pretty good win. That's a tough out. Latifi not bad, but I mean, come on, dude. Anytime that Corey Anderson is going up against strikers like this, man, he's had some problems. In saying that, if Anderson can get a hold of Walker, I'm not sure that it's going to be great for Walker, but have we really seen, his takedown defense a lot and stuff? Not yet. I think those knees in the clinch and stuff might be a problem for Anderson as well. It's an intriguing fight, one that I'm going to take the younger, fresher guy that's, man, hits like a truck and hits from every angle that you can imagine against a guy that I've seen been knocked completely out by the Osp of the world. So, I took some Johnny Walker. I believe his opener was around -132, and I grabbed that for just a unit. Nothing big. I think this is a really close fight, though, and one that'll tell us a lot about Johnny Walker going out of it.
Deshaun?
I think this is going to be one of those fights where whoever wins, the people who ever bet that side are going to be like, obviously, this is what happened, and there was huge value on whoever wins, because either Walker is going to knock out Corey Anderson, which Corey Anderson has a questionable chin, and we've seen it a lot. Not obviously not as much recently, but previously we've seen him get knocked out. And I think if Anderson wins, he's probably gonna get a hold of Walker and grind on him, tire him out, and probably take him down and do get a Corey Anderson style decision. So for me it's a complete pass. I'm not sold on Johnny Walker. He's fought a combined 3 minutes in the UFC in 3 fights. In his last 3 fights, his first one on the Contender Series went to a decision, but his 3 finishes lasted 3 minutes. I don't know what his takedown defense is like. I don't know pretty much anything other than he has huge power, which is definitely could be enough. But yeah, like I said, not sold on Walker. Don't really want to see. Don't want to put my money on Anderson's chin either. I maybe could look at a prop or something like that. Anderson by decision's only +240. Not really liking that. So it's just a complete pass. I'll pick Anderson to survive and implement his grinding game plan and not get caught.
Okay. I have Anderson at B, Johnny Walker C+. I think there's just been some opportunistic situations for Walker. This is a different type of fight where he's facing a guy who really is a solid wrestler. And I think Walker, like I said, I think this could be a fight or an event, a fight card rather, where some hype trains get derailed. And unfortunately, I think this might be the end of the Johnny Walker hype train. Sad to say.
It wouldn't be the end with a
Anderson
loss.
could slow him down, but it would do a lot to derail.
It would slow it down. It would slow it down.
Oh, it would put a lot of delay on that hype train. But if he wins, we'll see. But yeah, I think Anderson's going to be able to get this fight to the ground and slow down Johnny Walker, and that will result in a Corey Anderson win, who's moving up pretty steadily in this weight class. Let's move on to the main card. Really good fight to start the main card. I've been looking forward to this one for a while. This will tell us a lot about the undefeated one. Former NCAA Division I wrestling champion. There's not many of those in the UFC ever. Grigor Gillespie. Actually, I think he's just one of 3, if I remember that correctly. Or maybe one of 4. Taking on Motown Phenom, who's no longer in Motown, Kevin Lee. Wes, break this one down for us.
I don't think there's a whole lot to it, actually. I think one guy is just a superior wrestler. Even though the other guy's fairly decent at it, but is a total mook and does all the wrong things in fights. I think Gregor's just gonna do whatever he wants to Kevin Lee. It's gonna end up on the mat with Gregor smashing on him, I think, eventually. I guess Gregor does have to worry a little bit about the stand-up till he gets there. Kevin Lee does have a little bit of pop, I guess. But, man, every time I think about this fight, it always ends up on the mat with Gregor on top of Kevin Lee or up against the cage. Kevin Lee on a knee and a post and just getting smashed to the side of his head, which we've seen repeatedly in his fights. Yeah, that's how I see this going. I don't give Kevin Lee much of a shot in this fight. I mean, there always is one. Kevin Lee has shown flashes in the past, but I mean, recently, man, is there really like a guy that finds a way to lose more than Kevin Lee? I mean, there might be a few, but he's right fucking up there, man. Gregor is indeed like his nickname, man. He's gifted, and he's really gifted at one thing. And I think he's a little bit more mean now when he gets on top of guys and he tries to put some damage on them and get them out of there. I think that happens here. Yeah, I got what I could down on Gillespie at minus 130, minus 132, I believe, minus 135. Kind of hit it a few times as the line changed. Yeah, he's one of my bigger bets on this card. I love Gregor in this fight.
The new Sean.
There's a lot of questions surrounding Kevin Lee. He lost that Al Quinta fight, the main event, where I think kind of everybody thought that he was getting close back to possibly a title shot, and then kind of pissed that away. Then he was like, well, fuck it, I'm struggling with these weight cuts, I'll go up in weight. Then he fights a guy that used to be a 55er and kind of throws away that fight. Dos Anjos just kind of took over, and now he's back at 55, so he's just kind of doesn't know what he's doing. He's trying to throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. I know he's fighting, I think he's training at TriStar now, so that's probably a good thing for him, but he's still going to have a brutal weight cut. He's still probably going to gas, especially if Gregor is going to wrestle him. That tires you out, and that's not going to be good for him. Gregor, there's some questions with him, obviously, when he's not fighting, he's fishing, and so I don't know the amount of training he's doing. But when he's in that cage, he is very, very good, and I just expect him to be the better wrestler here. He does have to worry a bit early. Kevin Lee does have good power. His striking is fairly robotic, but he does have power. But I expect Gregor to be able to survive that and wrestle his ass off and tire Kevin Lee out and then smash him on the ground. So I like Gregor here. I got him at minus 152. I got 2 units on him. I think he might even finish Kevin Lee, and then who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I got Gillespie a B+. I got Kevin Lee a B+. I think Kevin Lee has had his best success really against guys who aren't great grapplers. And he's struggled with guys that have high conditioning. This fight, he's facing a superior wrestler who is really well conditioned as well. I think this is a awful matchup for Kevin Lee. And I expect Gillespie to continue to run in this weight class. Gillespie's had some struggles with guys who are able to really defend takedowns and get physical on the feet. I mean, so the physicality of Lee could potentially be an issue, but I don't know. I think this Gillespie is going to go right to the grappling, is going to slow Kevin Lee down. I think once Kevin Lee slow down, he's just not going to have it. So I like Gillespie to win this fight and do so going away. This is our first leg of our consensus parlay. I think at minus 185. That's correct, right, Nushan?
Yeah, and there's a lot of books that have it even cheaper than that.
All right, fine. That's the way it is sometimes. We got 4 fights left. Well, let's go back to heavyweight. That's been a theme on this fight card. It seems like some bigger fights or bigger guys. We got Blagoy Ivanov taking on the Black Beast, who seems to really like fighting in New York, Lewis. Wes, is the man whose balls are too hot? Or are they going to even get even hotter?
One of my favorite fighters right here, man.
Yeah.
Look. What I'd like, what the line I would like on this fight is over under like strikes landed. And if I could get that at around maybe like 5.5, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this might be like a really, really bad fight. These are just two guys that really do a whole lot of fucking nothing, man. I'm just kind of leaning that Derek Lewis does the little bit more of nothing. Maybe lands one of those big ones and hurts Ivanov at one point, but I don't really know, man. These are two guys that I usually like to keep my money away from, or I'm usually betting against them. I'm gonna pick Derek Lewis. Probably can't bet him. I was thinking about maybe betting him or betting by KO, but yeah, this is gonna be a terrible fight. I think this might go just complete fatty and just be horrible. Black Beast is the pick.
Yikes! All right, Nushan.
I think you're missing your spot to fade your favorite fighter, Wes. I know you think Blagoy Ivanov does not throw that much.
Talk me into it.
In his last 2 fights, Ivanov has landed 73 and 72 strikes. In 15 minutes each. That's not terrible for a heavyweight. You compare it's not great.
Fight, he had to throw, but I get the Rothwell fight. Yeah, that's a good point. When he's fighting Rothwell.
You compare that to Derek Lewis. Okay, he almost went 15 minutes against Volkov. He landed 39 strikes. Against Haganu, he landed 20. Against Tibura, that almost went 15, he landed 30. The guy who does not throw is Derek Lewis. And he gets away with it because he lands these Hail Marys. Ivanov is probably one of the most durable heavyweights there is. This guy, I don't know how many times I've ever even seen him rocked, but that guy went through a hard fucking life, and these pussy punches from these heavyweights are nothing compared to getting stabbed like 20 times. Regardless, I think this is a somewhat close fight. But I don't like what I've seen from Derek Lewis. Like, I mean, he really
terrible.
He is terrible. And
terrible.
He really should be on like a 6-fight losing streak. Like, it's insane that he's pulled some shit out of his ass. The Haganu fight is a whatever fight. He was getting dominated by Volkov. He came back against Tibura, who we know how much of a trash can he is. Derek Lewis is not good. He's a fun guy, but he is not a good fighter. He's coming off surgery. I forget if it's his back or his neck or what it was.
Where'd Nushan go?
Cut your mic, Sean.
Did he die?
Minus 119.
There he is. You cut out.
Let's repeat what you're betting again. Okay then. I guess he's man out. All right then. I'll certainly share. I got Derek Lewis a B-, Ivanov a C+. I'm a little more confident in Lewis than obviously Nushan is, and I think Wes kind of has it right. Lewis just hits a lot harder than Ivanov, and he's way bigger. Ivanov's an undersized heavyweight, and I think that size factor is going to really play a part in this fight. I'll take Lewis here to get the job done. 3 fights left, all lightweight or welterweights or former welterweights. This one is interesting, definitely contrasting of styles. Brazilian Vicente Luque taking on American Stephen Thompson. Nushan, are you back in the game? Okay. I guess maybe the Holocaust happened or something.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there he is.
There, maybe that got him going.
I don't know what the fuck happened, but yeah, I'm on even off at minus 119 for a unit. It's fair enough. It probably could turn into a dumpster fight, but
we thought Trudeau came back out and started a holy war.
Jay dropped the Holocaust joke and John was right back on.
Beautiful. Yeah. All right, you breaking down this one, Wes, or what?
Yeah. Where are we at? Wonder Boy and Luque.
Wonder Boy.
Yeah. Man, yeah. This is it's a very intriguing fight. I think another fight we probably figure is going to stay on the feet, but it's just kind of two completely different striking styles. Man, I really like Luque, man. There's so much about his stand-up game that it's just so fucking good, man. But he gets cracked sometimes. And we've seen fucking Stephen Thompson fucking land some shit from time to time. I'm not sure in this fight Thompson's gonna land one or two bombs on Luque. Even though I think Luque's going to take some shots in this, he just has that wide open kind of striking style. Man, I think Luque's volume here is going to pay him a lot of dividends, and I just don't know if Thompson is going to be able to get at the range and to land some kind of huge strike that he's going to need to get Luque off of him or even more out of there. I think it's still, I think, a really kind of a close fight that I wouldn't be shocked if Wonder Boy caught Luque, I guess is what I'm saying. We know Luque has an open style and he gets cracked, man. I'm hoping he has shored that up a little bit. But I still favor Luque just by the volume I think he'll throw in this fight. And I took a really small shot at him when he was I believe around plus 110 or so. Still right around there. Nothing big though. Like I said, I would not be surprised if he got cracked by something. But I think he wins a decision there. This is probably going to go 3 rounds.
Nushan?
This fight is just a complete pass for me. I don't like what I've seen from either of these guys. Thompson. What's that?
They don't like what you've seen from either of these guys when? In the recent fights? When?
Yes, in recent fights.
I thought leading up to the fight week or something.
No, just recently. So Thompson's been dropped in 4 of his last fights. The only fight that he didn't get dropped in and is against Masvidal, and he is coming off that pretty bad knockout against Pettis.
He was killing fucking Pettis. That
yeah,
still pisses
in a
me
fight
off.
that was winning, and I think that might happen here. Luque, on the other hand, I don't think he's looked great in 2 of his last 3 fights. I think he should have done a lot better against Mike Perry, who's a fairly simplistic fighter. But like Wes said, Luque is there to be hit because he is in that pocket. His offense is beautiful, but he's in there to be hit. Barberina was able to hit him a bunch and drop him and damn near finish him. So it's a bit scary on both sides. Luque, obviously the more active fighter, and I think he's going to come and bring it. And when fighters come and bring it to Stephen Thompson, that's usually not a good thing, because then he can counter strike and pick his shots. So I will pick Luque. I think he's the younger, fresher fighter, but in no way I can bet on either of these sides.
Okay, I got Stephen Thompson at a B and Luque a B-. I agree. This is a really competitive fight. Thompson is always a guy who looks way younger to me than his actual age. I always think he's younger, but he's like 35 already. Luque is kind of a bulldozer type of fighter, so a dangerous fight for Thompson. But he's so much better technically than just about anyone he'll ever face. that he's always the threat in that regard. But you're right though. Like he's been dropped in so many different fights. I can't. Even though I think he could expose Luque a bit. Luque's been really hittable. Thompson can fold even when way ahead, like we saw in the Anthony Pettis fight. So to me, this is one of the biggest passes on the entire card. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this fight. Co-main event, we have. Whose balls?
I got balls. That's why I'm Ben Luque.
I thought you were talking about Lewis.
Good
I thought you were talking about Derek Lewis's,
the hot balls.
What's in his underwear. Yeah. We got Kelvin Gastelum going against Darren Till, assuming this fight happens. Otherwise, I think. Oh yeah, Gastelum said he wouldn't fight Cannonier, right? That's kind of what's
he shouldn't.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Shouldn't.
Like, we're in 2019. We shouldn't be having like making fights 2 days before they happen or one day before they happen, and not a co-main event where if Gastelum wins, he's damn near back in there for a title shot. Like, get the fuck out.
If you want to have
it's a title fight.
Yeah,
if it's a title fight replacement and people know in advance, I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? But to be like, oh yeah, he might not make it, but we can give you Cannonier on 2 days notice. Like, fuck you, dude.
Like, the UFC need to get their shit together, whether it's UFC or the fighters that they're booking for these fights. Get them to the US or wherever the fuck they're fighting earlier to figure out these visa issues, because that's just not acceptable in this day and age.
Well, Till's also on Mook, so I mean anything's possible.
Yeah,
true.
That is a fucking idiot.
You can get, assuming this fight happens, how does it go down?
I think it goes down as Darren Till looking about how Darren Till's looked lately.
Like a fraud?
Yeah, I mean he's already like, the weight cuts were so horrible, I just think shit was going so bad for him. Now he's moving up to 185 and fighting a guy that's a way better wrestler than him, probably a better overall striker than him, hits with more power. Yeah, I mean, not to mention that, he's not going to be here for maybe a day before the fights if he gets up here and shit. Like, yeah, give me Gastelum in this fight and give me Gastelum to fuck up Darren Till. I think this is ugly. I think Gastelum knows that he's right back there for a title shot against a guy that he had in some bad spots in their fight not too long ago. So I think Gastelum puts on a show here. I think he fucks Darren Till up, and I like Gas a lot in this fight.
Holy fuck, Houston just tied the guy, or just went ahead. Fuck yeah. Or sorry, Washington went ahead.
No, Houston went ahead. The other
Washington.
Houston. Are you talking about baseball or are you talking about
basketball?
basketball?
The important game that's on right now. Game 7 of the World Series.
I'm following the basketball because...
they just took Greinke out, too.
Points. Yep. As a person with a 25-1 ticket on Washington to win the whole thing, I am very, very happy. As for this fight... As for this fight, you gotta love Gastelum here. I've been on the Gastelum hype train for a long ass time. His hands are very good, especially at this weight where I think he has the speed advantage over damn near everybody other than maybe Izzy. Darren Till is looking for answers after getting flatlined twice. Well, flatlined once and then choked out the other time, but he's just looking for answers, and I guess that means moving up in weight, but I don't know. I never thought Darren Till was that good. I think they gift him a title shot. I think Gastelum can win this fight wherever it goes. I think he could wrestle Darren Till if he really wanted to. I think he can outstrike him with his speed. Darren Till does have power, and Gastelum did get rocked in the Izzy fight. Other than that, Gastelum's shown like a granite chin. That I think that is the only way Darren Till wins is a one-shot Hail Mary. I am really like Kevin Gastelum. Kind of pissed the numbers kind of blown up now. It's up to minus 260 with all this talk of what's going on with Darren Till. I was able to get him a little earlier. I closed my parlay with Douglas Lima from last weekend, so I got those two together for plus 152 for a unit. I might look at some props, maybe Gastelum by finish or something like that.
I got him in some. I got some minus 145 as much as I could.
Beautiful. Which
isn't a lot. Darren Till's gonna look like his fucking idol the last time he fought against the same man. It's exactly what's gonna happen. Michael Bisping.
I got Gastelum and A.
Retired.
A, Till B minus. This is a huge mismatch. I mean, look at the stark difference in grades. Till's stock has gone way down. Gastelum's stock is just as high as it's ever been. That war with Adesanya, considering how Whitaker was put away by Adesanya, to see Gastelum go toe to toe with Adesanya for 5 rounds, I think that tells you a lot. I mean, that's a little MMA math, but is it though? It just tells you just how good Kelvin is. Till is certainly big, but this is his first fight at middleweight. He was big, gigantic welterweight, but now he's at middleweight. He'll certainly have the height advantage over Gastelum, but in terms of stockiness and just sheer size, and Gastelum's pretty. Yeah, I'm not as concerned. Gastelum's hands are so much faster than Till's, and Till's been dropped in recent fights. I don't think he can really contend with the top strikers, especially ones with real heavy hands. So I like Gastelum. I think he actually gets the job done and gets to finish. I would look at the TKO prop plus 185 in that one. And he is our second half of our consensus parlay. Woohoo!
Yes, sir.
Gillespie and Gastelum, wrestler, and I don't know what you want to call Gastelum at this point.
A very good fighter.
MMA fighter.
Let's just call him that with really great stand-up striking. What's the price, new Sean? Give it to us.
Now it's plus 113 because people are hammering the shit out of Gastelum even since we started recording, but it's still a good bet.
All right, now we got the main event. I don't know what's going on with who's presenting this thing or what this stupid belt's going to look like.
The Rock, baby.
They should have brought Justin Gaethje into this thing and made it a 3-way, if you ask me. But okay, yeah, all right. Nathan Diaz returning from a 3-year absence, taking on the dude in MMA whose stardom has skyrocketed more so than anyone else, I think, in the sport over the last, 6 to 12 months. I think that's fair, right?
Nate beat up Anthony Pettis for us, Jay, a couple months ago.
Oh, yeah. That was very forgettable.
And, not for my book account, but...
That was a weird fight, but
yeah. You're absolutely right about Masvidal, man, and I don't think it could have happened to one of the OGs as much as Masvidal deserved it to happen to him. Sort of kind of like Nate finally got his shine with the Conor fights and shit, and finally made some money for a guy that literally never sold out his fucking self-respect like a lot of these guys do to try to, make a couple of dollars in this sport. I think it pays many more dividends too when you can create an organic kind of stardom like Masvidal and Nate have created. Sort of like I kind of put Conor there. Conor, I still think his shit's kind of an act and shit. So it worked to a level as well. But I love that these dudes are going to get paid crazy money for this fight. They both deserve it. A fight that, however it goes down, it's I've seen few fights lately that people have kind of talked about like this, man. I have friends that don't even watch MMA anymore that have asked me about this fight and stuff. So it's definitely a big fight. As far as the fight, man, look, I'm I have so many good memories of Masvidal fights. I don't know if he could ever have two back-to-back that gave me so much joy, like his fight against Till and Askren back-to-back. Those were just magnificent finishes. And I mean, after the Till fight, to go back and piece up fucking Leon Edwards backstage, just it's hard to remember a guy. I think it took Conor even a little longer to kind of shoot up like that. But I mean, Masvidal has literally overnight become a fucking a superstar. I mean, this dude's doing ESPN.
A lot of people talk about him, know him. Yeah, they're interested in him.
You've
the
never
haircut is genius when you think about it.
Yeah, his whole fucking Cuban vibe look that he's got going on it's all genius, man. And it's organic. That's really that guy though.
Is it though?
Yeah, I really that dude's a fucking he's a Cuban from Miami, dog. That is really
he started
Jorge.
fighting with Kimbo, like on Kimbo backyard
I know
fights.
all that.
Why-
I know he's a fighter.
Watch those fights.
I'm talking about the look and changing this thing. I mean, that's all
He had
new.
the-
That look
he
is
had
new.
He had the long hair ponytail in those fucking YouTube fights, dog. You know what I'm saying? Go back and watch them. That dude was rocking the long hair. He was, I don't know about that. I mean, the dude was 19 years old. I don't even know if he could grow a good beard. Didn't he? I'm just saying, like, that has really been Jorge for as long as people can remember. That dude ain't sold out his shit. You know, he wasn't begging to get to the fucking UFC and shit. I just,
Strike Force, yeah. It was Strike
it's
Force for
good.
a long time.
Yeah, it's good to see those guys. Like I said, him and Nate both get their shine. Yeah, when it comes to the fight, like I said, man, we got to kind of with Jorge. I still think he has improved his game, but he's still the same guy. You know, you can't take a lot from the Askren. As crazy and great a KO as that was, come on, it's 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Darren Till is almost, I think, kind of a built up almost fraud. He got a lot of shit. That was a really good win for Jorge, though. I'm not taking that away. Till is still a fairly tough guy. Before that, though, I mean, Jorge was always the rap of the dude that didn't throw a lot of strikes, fought a couple rounds and then would take off rounds. He's not going to be able to do that here against Nate. Nate's going to be in his grill 100% of the time. Nate's going to be throwing a fucking 400 or 500 strikes. He's going to put the pace on Jorge. And I got to try to think back before the Askren and Till fights to what I think Jorge still is legitimately as a fighter. Still think he's a good fighter and all, but there's some things that I think Nate can kind of exploit if that same Jorge shows up, and I think he will. I think Nate can put enough pace on in this fight and throw enough strikes in this fight to where I think he takes maybe a fairly close decision here. I like Nate at plus money, man. I think it was around -1 or plus 145 or so, plus 150. Would I be shocked if Jorge comes out and throws a lot of strikes and puts on a crazy fight and gets a really close kind of contested decision? I wouldn't be shocked by that. I think it's going to be a really good fight. I think Nate throws more in this fight and puts on a little bit more pressure. I don't think Jorge can get him out of there, and Nate wins a decision. Plus 150 for me.
Okay. Nushan.
Happy as hell for both these dudes, especially my boy Nate Diaz. I know everybody just was always down on him for kind of the way he fought in some fights, and then everybody thought, well, he could only sell with McGregor and all this shit. Well, now he's headlining Madison Square Garden, so
we don't know if it's going to sell yet.
It doesn't matter. He's getting paid a lot.
It's going to be big, dude. It's going to be big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in this day and age, we won't really find out because of this ESPN deal.
Well, you'll have web numbers that's kind of a gauge now that they can use as web traffic and shit.
Yeah, they can use that for social interactions and.
Regardless, these two dudes are getting paid well, and that's what I'm happy to see in sport with the two guys that bring it in damn near every fight they've been in. As for who's going to win this fight, I think it's close. Masvidal's kind of been always this guy who he gets dropped in a lot of these fights, but has really good recovery. In the past, has not thrown enough. Do we know if that's changed? Don't really know. Diaz looked a bit rough in the first round against Pettis. He hadn't fought for 3 years.
That was the 3-year layoff.
I guess that's kind of fair.
Yeah.
He has taken some beatings from McGregor in both those fights, so he's definitely a little more shot-born than what he was used to. So it's a tough fight. I think it's damn near a coin flip. For some reason, when this USADA shit came out, the line skyrocketed, and I was able to grab Nate Diaz at plus 197. Insane.
Can we say something about that real quick? Like, fuck you, Sada.
Yeah, I mean, we've been on that train for a long time.
Ban these fuck. Like, look, I've said it long ago. I would be surprised by no one getting busted for steroids. Literally no one. But I believe Nate. I really believe him in this situation.
Oh, he's so damn scrawny.
This shit's they're just a joke anymore, man. Like, our favorite MMA personality, fucking Puke Thomas, put out a video earlier today.
Yeah, boy.
I'd advise
You're turning the corner on Luke. You don't like him. I love that. I really like that dude. You've been pumping him up lately.
He's a pompous fucking prick that I don't like those type of people. But that dude legitimately has some of the best analysts as far as like the world of MMA as any of them out there.
Sir.
He legitimately
tries. No dummy, Les.
No, he tries to do his work and he does it well. I'm not hating on that. I didn't like his attitude forever. But I would encourage people to go watch that video he posted today from his show, because it really digs into some of the kind of how the landscape is changing with drug testing. That Jeff Nowitzki came out talking like there's so many like things out in the world now that are showing trace amounts of illegal substances that fighters aren't supposed to take. That like, how can it be on the fighter these days to regulate all these different things out in the world, from liquids? Like, they have found tainted water in certain areas of the country to where it's
meat, all that shit.
Yeah, it just has enough to where it would show traces in your drug test that you would never have any idea that you were taking it if you were drinking the local tap water in your community. So it's like they have to start looking at it different and changing the way that, because the way he described it, it's always been zero tolerance for the athlete. What you put in your body is on you. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yep.
Well, now we know that you can test for all these new chemicals that are showing up in all these products that nobody has any clue. How can that be on the athlete anymore? You know what I'm saying? And Nate Diaz is the perfect case of it. Like, he had something that dude literally had no clue that it would show trace amounts of some bullshit substance. So
it has no fucking effect at all.
And it has no bearing on anybody getting any kind of upper advantage in a fucking fist fight. So fuck USADA. You can lick our balls, and I think they should be able to shoot horse roids in their balls.
There we go.
Let them scrap.
That's very, very good points, Wes.
Don't do horse roids in your balls.
It's gonna be a fun fight. I'm glad it's hyped up as it is. Whatever with the belt, I think it's just a very fun fight and a very good card. And hopefully Diaz gets the win.
I'm cool with a belt. I don't think that's like. I know a lot of people are kind of like, why are they doing this dumbass? But I don't mind it. Like, boxing has done that for a while. They've created kind of little.
Oh, the money belt.
Just not even the money belt. Like, The WBC would hand out a trinket belt when they'd have big fights against, the number one and number two guy, to unify the belts and shit. Like the WBC would hand out some kind of special trinket belt to the winner and shit of that fight. I mean, it's been done forever. I don't know why people's all up in arms acting like it's some kind of dumb
It's
new
the UFC
concept.
and they want it exactly how it's always been. Nothing different.
Mooks.
That's mooks for you.
Yeah, it's a good word.
What do you got, Jay?
I got both. Let me just say, I got both these guys at B+. I think this comes down to volume because I don't think there's going to be a ton of takedowns in this fight. Even though both guys average over a takedown per 15 minutes in the cage, Nate, even like historically, like Nate's a little bit better. I think 4.7 significant strikes a minute versus Jorge's like 4.1 and change. But if you look back at more recent fights, like Nate's volume has gone up significantly. In 3 of Nate's last 4 fights dating back to 2015, he's landed in excess of 100 strikes in each of those bouts. I mean, Jorge's only done it like once, like going back like 10 years. So I like Nate on volume. The more I think about it, the more I like it. I think Nate's extremely hard to finish on the feet. The only one that I can remember him being knocked out was that Josh Thompson fight with the head kick. That's not really a Jorge in his arsenal. If it's really a boxing match, I mean, you have to like Nate Diaz. I think you really do. I mean, he's a better boxer than Jorge Masvidal. Masvidal's a really kind of like good at a lot of things, not great at anything. What we know about Nate Diaz, he's an like well above average, borderline excellent MMA boxer, and he's sneaky good on the mat. So those were the advantages. That's where the advantages are, and I think Nate wins a boxing match.
I think you're right, Jay.
Yep.
I said it better.
So we actually all agreed on Nate. But I think because of personal biases, especially with the Canadian teenager, we can't make that a consensus on principle.
Man was down in Texas looking for a fucking one of the 7,000 churches down there when he heard about that fucking cancellation, wasn't he?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what the fuck is going on, man?
I know. Nate said, "Fuck y'all." That was great, dude.
And I mean, you can shit on the Diaz for whatever. Just they don't like they'll say they won every fight, them getting wrestle fucked, whatever. Man, the things they've done for the sport is pretty underrated. I mean, they were saying that everybody's on steroids, which they were, putting USADA on blast. There's been a lot of shit that they've been kind of on the forefront, and I think people just don't like him because of certain things, which I guess you're entitled to your own opinion. But they've been pretty on point with a couple things that are pretty big deals in the UFC.
And you want to get like dig deep down with this situation. Who's the slimy fucks here when the UFC was ready to like do whatever they had to do to keep this fight on?
Damn right.
Like the UFC were literally gonna put out whatever fucking they had to put out. They were going to trot out Nowitzki, and they were going to fucking make some shit up to keep this fight going.
Tells Nate to stay quiet. He's like, fuck that noise. You guys are going to try to railroad me if I lose or some shit. At least he got out in front of it.
Yep.
That's
Nate came out and said, "Fuck you. Look at this, motherfuckers." Yeah. That's how slimy those fucks are. They were literally going to cover that shit up. Nate was going to get fucked in the end. Good thing Nate's like, nah. I'm smarter than that nowadays, you fuckers.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for this week's episode. Fun times.
Going to Mother Russia, Moscow next week.
Oh, wait a second. I forgot about that.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Couple bangers on that card.
Oh, let's just take.
We got our boy back, right?
Greg Hardy as a big dog.
And we got him as a big dog.
Oh shit, we may have to.
So if the Black Beast can stone cold this motherfucker, Greg Hardy can't? Like really?
I'm sitting on this line because people just give him no chance. I've listened to some people talk about this.
Oh yeah, he's dead.
Most people are giving him no chance.
Zero.
And I'm cool with that.
Everybody
keep
I've
bumping
heard,
up that price. I'll gladly take a piece.
We're gonna get close to 300, dude.
There's
I'm
a
telling
Habib cousin on this card.
Yeah,
We're
they
gonna-
trotted out every Russian they could find that didn't have a fight lined up on this one.
Wait, this is the one that fought in PFL? Oh no, not a good cousin.
He's fighting
Oh.
David Zawada though.
Man, they're
okay.
trotting out Ed Herman to get killed again, ain't they?
Who the
Well,
hell's he
yeah,
fighting?
he's fighting because what's his name? Antigulov had to pull out.
Bragimov is
Oh,
good.
Jesus, fucking Tony Martin. They're giving Ameev.
Yeah.
Oh, he was pretty good too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so there's some good fights on that card. I don't know when the hell
Yeah,
it's
Rusty
gonna
Zabin.
Gables versus Kondazko. Okay.
Zabin, fucking.
Davey-
I'm just
It's not
gonna
a-
guess that's not
I
a five
will
round.
absolutely fade Davy Grant. I don't care who that guy
Is he
is.
fighting on this card? No
against
way.
Popov.
No
Yeah,
way.
Yeah.
God, that thing.
I wish you
That's
wanted
missing a zero. That's missing a zero, dude. Come on. That ain't
the
minus
price.
2,400.
It's listed at 2,400.
No,
way.
That's what
I
Wes
said
says it should be.
It's missing a
I'm
zero.
gonna say.
Oh my
What are the
God.
it's minus 240 that fight happens? I don't think so.
Yeah, who knows?
Davey Grant. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Wait, Yakovlev's on this card? Oh wow, there's guys I haven't seen in years. This is so wild. Is this really a 2019 card?
This is a funny ass card, ain't it, man? This seems like a mashup of M1 PFL type shit, don't it?
I like it.
What the
There's a lot of
fuck?
guys I like on this card.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. All right. Hot Sauce is on this card too, and Roberson. Oh, there's a lot going on. It's gonna be fun to talk about next week.
I mean, the main event is just fucking the tits.
Yeah, I'm just bummed
God.
it's not 5 rounds. That's the only thing I'm bummed about.
It's not 5 rounds. What happened
No,
there?
because the main event was supposed to be Dos Santos versus Volkov.
Oh,
and then
yeah,
Santos
yeah,
pulled
yeah.
out. They gave the fight to Hardy, but they're not putting that as the main event, so they moved
Shame on them.
Qatar, and then Zabit said he didn't want a 5-round fight. Qatar or Cater was he was all about it. He said he was ready for 5 rounds, but
Yeah,
So it's
Zabit said-
only 3 rounds?
yeah,
because
3-round main event.
Cater has a way better shot at that fight the longer it goes.
That's right.
Straight up. Zabit ain't
Matter,
done.
dude. He ain't gonna lose. Yeah, Zabit ain't gonna lose the fight. So, but we'll talk about it next week.
It's a good fight. It's a good fight.
That's a teaser for next week.
It's a good fight.
All right, we'll talk about it on next week's show. Should be a good one. Enjoy the fights, everyone, and let's see who's considered the baddest motherfucker on the planet.